Hi, this is G-Tom Mac on the Tim O and Harley Show. Rock it.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, hot and humid Harley.
Ooh, it's getting hot. It's getting hot now.
I knew you were hot, but humid, my friend, I did not know.
Yeah.
I thought you were more of a dry heat.
A little bit. Yeah, more of a dry heat.
All right. I wasn't too sure, but I knew I had you pegged on one of those there. So
I don't mind a little humidity, Timo. No, you know what, Timo? No, humidity is my kryptonite.
So we also got Retro Invasion Weekend coming up, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see here. I think it's May 31st, June 2nd, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes,
Get on
sir.
Facebook and online, retroinvasionweekend.com, and get your tickets. Get ready to go. Let's see here. Now, health update. We do not have one this week for Angio. She has had her surgery.
Yes.
But as we are recording this, it's before that. So I have no update. We will have an update next week for that. And hopefully we will all still be going and making our way to Retro Invasion Weekend, which we have been planning on doing, since we're going to need to get the fuck out and have some giggles and have some fun. Yeah, and see some friends. Right. Need to see some friends.
We need to see you, too.
Well, it's hard for me to imagine anyone wants to see me, but there you go. So
we want to see Angie more. But,
I understand that. I get that. Everybody likes her way more than me, and I get it. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to keep her healthy. I like her more than me too. Trust me, I know. So now, do you have a wrestling thing? You and your wrestlers are going to be at Retro Invasion Weekend. We've been talking about that. When's your next wrestling event?
I think it's May 26th, my friend. Okay. Yes.
All right. So, that's the week before Retro Invasion then. So you're going to get dinged up a little bit, and then you're going to come to the show, and knowing the things I bring to shows, you're going to get dinged up a little bit more.
That's right. Yeah.
I am packing
we're just
heat.
Getting primed up. Yeah. We're just getting warmed up. For Retro Invasion Weekend. So we'll have a nice match beforehand, the weekend before, and then we'll come primed, ready to rock.
I'm not sure if it's a good idea to give your wrestlers grape ape, though.
Them guys, them clowns. I don't know.
They're all in their makeup down at the table. Can I have some grape ape, please?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Well, so as long as nobody we bring to the show or our friends puts Danny Hicks through a table, I think we're still going to be doing.
We'll be good.
Still be doing okay. So let me get you a couple of things here, Mr. Ben Harley, looked at before we get to our official films here. Sure. First up, now one of my years is 1981. We know this. Yes. That's my year. But I got another year that's way back in the 40s. Remember that year?
Yeah.
It's 1942. 1942. Yeah. So from 1942, I was feeling a little romantic, Mr. Ben Harley. A little romantic. Yeah. And Angio says, I want to watch something like a gangster movie or something like that. But no, Mr. Ben Harley, I was dancing on flower petals and had my ruffled shirt undone, and I was frolicking around, and I was feeling romantic. So I said, well, I got an idea from you. We've never watched Casablanca.
Casablanca,
so from
really?
1942, Mr. Ben Harley and Joe.
I don't think I ever have either.
It's a good movie, Casablanca. Not so this has got Peter Lorre in it. Of course, it has Humphrey Bogart in it and Ingrid Bergman, but it's got Peter Lorre, Claude Rains, Sidney Greenstreet. It has some people basically from like Maltese Falcon and things like that in it. Now, Maltese Falcon to me is back there in the Casablanca era. It's back in. I love the Maltese Falcon. I think the Maltese Falcon is one of the greatest films ever made. I don't understand a word. I don't understand a lick of it. But it's fucking great, and I love it. I love the dialogue. I'm gonna have to bring this to a show or something to watch with you, because Bogart is hilarious in this movie. I mean, he's just like he's a guy in a bubble. Like he just goes around, and he's like shit's happening all around. I'm like, I don't care. I'm Bogart, Now in Casablanca, it is a little bit more. He does play Rick. He does have his own restaurant, bar, nightclub, or whatever and stuff. And it is Nazis. And his place is basically a filter for people to escape, like the Nazi occupations and stuff like that. And he wants to play it down the middle. He doesn't want to get in trouble with the Nazis or the Allies. He is basically Switzerland in shoes.
Okay,
that's all he wants to do. So, not a bad movie though. It's just one of those things that, for a movie freak, for a cinemaphile, almost an amateur cinema historian, let's call me.
Yes.
To not watch Casablanca with your wife is just not correct.
It's not correct?
No.
All right, I might have to do it.
Right. Well, I'm just telling you.
All the places and all the... what?
It's in there. It's in there.
Yep.
She had to walk into mine. Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyway, so we got to watch that. So good times watching that. Now, let's see here. From 1986, we watched the David Cronenberg version of The Fly.
The Fly.
With Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It is a good movie. It is.
It's been a while since I've seen that. But
Me too.
I've seen that movie a ton of times. But I guarantee going back, there's a lot I've missed. I don't remember. Sorry.
Right. It's a good movie. It's just it's typical Cronenberg. He loved the body horror. He loves things going wrong with, like when he did, I don't know, The Shivers. All these movies he did, Scanners. It's all about your body and about manipulating your body and gross things coming in and out of your body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this really isn't. This is no exception.
No.
I mean, he kind of falls apart. Jeff Goldblum does in this movie. Yeah, it is. It is a little bit. So, but I think that Gina Davis. I think Jeff Goldblum was a great choice for casting.
Yeah.
In this. To be honest with you, it's from that era. It's one of the movies I remember most.
Me too. And it was for me. That was like his big coming out party. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a big deal for him.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So,
and it freaked me out a little when I was younger. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, this is off. I wasn't like sickened by it. It was just, it was freaky. It really was to me. And I think this was one of the better remakes of an old classic.
It kind of reminds me of the difference.
Horror.
Yes, it's a difference between The Thing from Another World and John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
And it's a difference between The Fly from the 50s to that The Fly. Very similar in that it's so different.
Yeah.
And I admit that. It's so different, but I don't know, it's just good in a different way. It seems like when they remake movies now, it's not about we can do the technical stuff better now. That's what it seemed like before. Now in fairness, though, those stories are very different. I mean, The Fly, they are. So maybe it's our age as well, why we can tolerate those remakes so much better. I just don't feel like they're making them as good anymore, and maybe it is my age, and maybe I'm
now it's all puff and no stuff now.
Yeah,
but even when they had the technology to make these better back in the day, they still relied on good storytelling.
Yes,
good storytelling, because even though they were better technology, still though, come on, putting a thing out there like that. I could imagine, even if I was John Carpenter and Rob Bottin was telling me, "Oh, I'm going to do this," you're like, "Wait, what? Are you sure? You sure going to be able to make that work?" And then when it exploded on set and it didn't work, whoa, shit! What are we going to do now? And so you still had Jaws, for crying out loud. Look at that! How bad that film could have ended up being. And it's one of the greatest films of all time because of the story.
Right.
As much as I love the shark and everybody in the boat, and it's the movie, it's the story that makes that such a good movie.
Right.
And the reason it'll last the test of time. It's not because of the mechanical shark. It's because it's I don't know.
Well, I mean, the main difference too here is in the original Fly, he turns into the fly and stays hidden.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so his wife, and then there's the little fly with the head on it. That's flying around. That's the original one. So in this one, he's slowly transforming, and that's totally different.
And it makes him at first. Remember, it makes him real strong, and
he's into it,
and he's like powerful. Yeah. And then he goes and gets that one like chick, and he brings her home, and like it was really risque and really like it was just gritty. I don't know. That movie, it was a game changer, I think, at the time when it came out. I do. And like I said, it's not one that was always my favorite, but I liked it a lot when I was younger. And I think it's a great movie.
Well, Cronenberg goes in spurts too, because I mean, he did this. He had Scanners, The Brood, another body horror, type of thing too. And this is just like the crescendo of that. This is like him working towards the budget, working towards the Hollywood release, working towards all this, as a crazy Canadian, doing stuff, but, it was kind of cool to go back and watch. And it was one of those deals where I just kept looking at it. Like, it's an investment. You get into it. It's not a barn burner of a movie. It's not real fast. So it is about an investment.
And Gina Davis is good in it, too.
She's good.
She really is.
John Getz, the boyfriend type guy, like the kind of the secondary guy. He's sort of like put in the background of this movie, but he's the star of Blood Simple. And I like that guy a little bit. And you can't really notice him because he's in like a full beard and everything in this movie. Yeah. And it's a few years later. It's a couple years later, but I kind of like him too in this. And I think he plays a neat role that he could have been the jerky McJerkington through the whole damn thing and been a villain. But he's just your average jerk who's a regular guy.
Regular guy?
Yeah. I mean, given the opportunity, he does the right thing without thinking about it. It's I kind of like his character that way. He's really a believable character because of that.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because when I was going through the disc the other day, I came across it, and so I might have to throw that in. Yeah,
so it's
I got a lot of printing to do, Tim.
I know you do. Speaking of that, what you got? What do you got? What do you got? What you look at?
Timo, let me see here real quick, buddy. I watched something, but I will probably speak on a little bit here. It's something that I've been putting off watching for a while. It's called Discovering Bigfoot. Now, I don't know if you watched all of this one or not, but is
it on Prime? If it is, I probably did. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Well, this is starring the action hero himself, Todd Standing.
Oh, boy.
This is Todd Standing's documentary. Todd Standing is the one that everybody thinks is a hoaxer.
Sure.
Not sure if he... But like that left.
He's got the footage of the real stiff faces. Bigfoot heads.
Yeah. Well, this is the one. It's Discovering Bigfoot, and it's all about him going out and his techniques and his different things. But it has Meldrum in it, and also the other guy we like. Bendernagel.
Oh yeah.
They come out with him, and they're both really. They're not standoffish with him, really, but they're trying to be as scientific as possible.
Right.
But then again, there's stuff that he's showing them that that even Meldrum's like, well, hey, I'm not sure, and some of it's the tree standing, some of it's the trees breaks.
Right.
Some are other things like when they put the apples, but I keep thinking, when birds but there's no droppings, which I'm like, I guess that makes sense. There's no, like if something little there was gnawing on it, you would see. I don't know. Anyways, Tim, I don't want to go. It's 2 hours long, which it might be about a half hour too long because a lot of it is, they're with the tracks and they're going through and finding tracks. But I will say, and I even told Wendy, I was like, I started it a while ago. I said, I've been putting this off because of Todd Standing and who he is and stuff like that. But I don't know. I came out of it, but there are some really interesting stuff in there. I don't know about the Bigfoot pictures. The one is really stiff. The others look okay, but then he had another one that he showed that looked pretty damn impressive, but you could still hoax it, I guess. I mean, maybe you could, but if it was a Bigfoot looking at you or whatever, it's impressive, man. It really, really is. Now, the one thing that Todd Standing talks about that I think is very interesting and I somewhat would believe in is the day watcher stuff, where there are different Bigfoots or Sasquatch, whatever, like I know him by name. Pakwa,
Midnight Whistler
up there. The Midnight Whistler. When he tends to be the day watcher. Anyways, but.
Right.
I think that is smart, and it would be if these things exist. Now, I'm to me 75% believe that Bigfoot exists, but there's always that 25% of that nags me and says, I don't know, Ben. But he really does make some good points of that, because he really claims to be out there with them. And I am a believer wholeheartedly. If you're going to find these things, or if they're going to approach you, or you're going to have any interaction with them, it's by mistake, and or you walked in the wrong place, the wrong time, or they showed you themselves, maybe, or they accidentally were trying to get from point A to point B across the road or something, and they're But I just, you have to be out there. I feel like you have to be out there living or in these places multiple times.
Well, you have to know where to look.
Exactly, too.
Yes.
And I also believe, Tim, after watching this, now I'm not saying I'm a big fan of his, and I think part of it is because he's a type of guy, I think he's so excited at what he's doing that
he's hoaxing it because he doesn't have the patience to get the real footage, you think?
No, not so much that, but I just think he's the type of person. He's not a very personable guy. To me, he's the type of guy that lives in his mom's basement and is the type of guy we see at these shows. I'm not trying to dog anybody. I'm not.
Right.
He's just one of those guys that's like, he's so into what he's doing that he's pushing it on you. He's pushing Bigfoot on people that you don't have to push it on Jeff Meldrum,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when you're watching this, he's saying he's trying to okay, give Meldrum a second to analyze it, buddy. Okay, give him a second, let him analyze it.
Right.
Okay, before and he's so that he comes off as not a very personable, likable guy.
Right.
To me, that's how I look at him a little bit. And also, he's trying stuff that you're like, man, that looks too good or too fake. But yet, if this guy's telling the truth, man, we all got egg on our fucking face, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Because if this guy's right on some of this stuff, which he might be. Now, some of the things that he did have Bindernagel and Meldrum kind of stumped on some stuff. Meldrum thought he had saw something the last night that he was there with him. And
I was going to ask you if that was the one where they heard something in front of him and then behind him. And he was out there in the special place with Todd standing. There was one where he was out somewhere. Meldrum was out with Todd standing somewhere. And at night they heard something. And they got up, started walking around. And he heard it in front of him, behind him. Because what I remember thinking is, it's so easy for Todd standing to have a couple buddies come out.
That's what that's the thing that I think. Because he saw, this is the thing. He saw Meldrum. And this is my mind, and that is my Batman detective work. I'm always trying to pick apart these things, even though that 75% of me is in the background going, yes.
Right.
I'm still like, no, wait sit down. Let me think about this first. I'm trying to be like, no, because I get excited, Tim, and I want to be excited. There ain't nobody on the planet that wants this to be more true than me. I'm sure there are a few more. Right. I got the reputations invested into it.
Well, I remember when the Finding Bigfoot guys went, and they were very they were like jerks to him. They didn't even.
And but the thing is, now knowing a little bit more about some of them, not so much. I think the
researchers don't always get along.
No,
we know this now. We know this for sure. Exactly. They do not get along with each other.
No, exactly. And I think that he has such good stuff that a lot of them are just like, no, it's either too good.
And he's showing it.
It's like, and he's showing it.
And they don't like that.
No,
I don't know why, but they don't like it.
Yeah. And he's really, and I kind of came out of this liking him a little bit more, understanding a little bit more about him and what he's doing. Still kind of thinking, if you're hoaxing me, that you're a jackass. He's also doing some stuff out there that's really kind of cool, too, that I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. But getting back to the Meldrum thing, so Meldrum, the last night he's there, he thinks he sees something, a walking. He kind of tells him, shows a little bit to where, he thinks he saw it. So then the next day, Todd Standing goes out there, and he does kind of find the tracks. And he goes back and shows Meldrum, and Meldrum's like, nope, that's exactly what, and lays it out pretty well to where you think, well, if Todd's hoaxing this, man, that's a good hoax, to find that. But no, because he went out there and he's showing where the tracks are and stuff. And it's hard for me being such an urbanite that people lived and caught people and tracked people across continents. So that a guy can go out here and be able to find these tracks does not blow my mind that much, because I mean, people have done it for, Native Americans, people, the people that built this country that, you could track you and I, Timo, for now in the urban jungle. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just because that's what they do. They know these things. Now, I don't know. I come out kind of laughing because the way Todd Standings does some of these things in this documentary, you're like, Todd Standings, action hero.
Right. Yeah. He's got his own persona.
That's a little off. It's a little off-putting too.
Right.
But you know what? God bless him. If he's having fun, hey, you know what? Go for it. But some of the stuff that was interesting, I will say that you might enjoy watching. Some of it, it is what it is. It's a little too long. I watched it I was trying to watch it intently for a while. Then I started to make, Sydney and I some breakfast the other day. So I was kind of just listening, and, a little bit too much of the tracking is what I'm talking about. But he's really trying to make points. I don't know. He had some interesting footage that was good, Timo. Some I was like, I don't know about that.
Well, he seems like the kind of guy to me that, like you said, he's real excited about it.
Yeah.
And he seems like the kind of guy that
he's too pushy sometimes.
Well, he seems smart, creative.
Yeah.
Part of me keeps thinking that he saw something or has seen a couple things, and nobody believes him because it's Bigfoot. It's not just him.
Yeah.
It's just so he creates
right
things to prove it, even though the proof is a lie.
Yeah.
Not the original genesis of what he's seeing. It's just that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he has no patience with a little glimpse of something behind some trees, which most people have. He's got to get a face on there.
Yeah.
Now, I have seen like some of those faces that he's showing.
Yeah.
I've also seen, I'm pretty sure they sell those.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of disheartening to me, is that when it's like, it's sort of like the guys that said they had the Bigfoot in the freezer. That was the other guy that I was thinking of. That's what's his name too? I can't think of his name off the top of my head for some reason.
Swindled the guys from
Tom Biscardi. Tom Biscardi. That's it.
Yep.
That's the other guy. Now that guy has fucked his credibility so many times because of the fact that he was the one standing there with these guys saying it's a real Bigfoot. It's a costume.
The costume, it was so stupid.
Possum gut sticking out of it or something. It's like, and then that really hurts serious people, and it hurts the research. And I see this guy as a version of Tom Biscardi, possibly. Yeah. But I don't know, because it's real hard to tell. And the way the Finding Bigfoot guys treat him, to be frank with you, is kind of the way that I feel about Matt Moneymaker.
Me too. And that's how I feel about it. And that's why, like, the longer Finding Bigfoot went on and the more you find out about Matt Moneymaker, I was like, no wonder he doesn't like the guy. I
agree. But
that money, but like, because Matt Moneymaker, he thinks he's the smartest fucking guy in the room, and so like he's gonna. But like, I was gonna say too with this Todd saying he has like, I think you'd like it enough, Timo, just because the interesting footage that he has. There's a lot that base camp that supposedly come in, and one time it has one where he gets up and supposedly Sasquatch, because one comes in to draw his attention here, so then the other one comes around and grabs an apple off the log behind him.
And then there's like audio too, right? He has audio.
You see it happen, and like, fuck, is that real or is it not? I don't know. We won't even know anymore because of the way things are. So that's what sucks too, because you don't even know if it is a real Bigfoot. We're never gonna know unless we see it live for ourselves, because it sucks, because everything can be made up anymore. But he did have some cool, interesting stuff of supposed Bigfoot on a thermal up a tree. That was pretty interesting. I was like, what the hell? Just for shits and giggles, I was like, what the hell? I don't know that I believe it by any means, but some of the behaviors that he talks about was kind of cool, but then again, he might be saying it because of how he can use it. But like, there was one where he was out and it was like really cold. It was out super deep snow, and they came down towards him, and there was like 3 of them that he thought that he could hear or whatever, and And he had his thermal on, and it was funny because it would be pitch black, but this Bigfoot would think you wouldn't be able to see it. So what was cool is that the thing just like stopped by a tree, just stopped. You could see the back of it, and it wouldn't move. It just wouldn't move at all. Stopped and he was, approaching. And as he approached it, then this giant log came, bam, from the other side and hit towards him as he was approaching the other one, and it ended up being one of the Bigfoots on the other side throwing it at him. So he retreated, but the Bigfoot never moved. And for me, just if it's real or not, I don't know. I have no idea. But that footage right there was fun for me to watch. I was like, oh shit, because I was like, that's cool. Because you think an animal would do that. First off, it would freeze, stop. It's not gonna, it's gonna blend in. And I think these Bigfoots do that much more if they are real, Timo. That's what they would do. They would stop because, like you and I have talked about, when you're watching something out in the distance or out in the woods, your eye catches the stuff that moves, and it's probably because of the branches and light coming through. If you don't move, you blend in, into this stuff.
Have you ever seen a turkey fly? Have you ever seen a turkey fly and no, seriously, have you ever seen a turkey fly and go up to a tree and roost? Because I see it every day, and most people never see this in their entire lives. Yeah, they don't. And wild turkeys do fly. Yeah. Not the Mr. Carlson turkeys, which that episode was on, by the way. Whenever I sent you pictures of the WKRP, it was the turkey episode with WKRP. Yeah. But I see this every day. But I will also tell you one thing, that like Angie will come down into the sunroom, and I'll point at a tree and I'll say, "Look, there's a turkey roosting in the tree," and it takes her forever to find it. And I have to really point it out and say, "Look," and we're still light, it's still light out, and so when things sit still, you don't see them. Trees are a great camouflage because they're messing up your eye lines. They're messing up what you're seeing. You're an artist, you know these things. Yeah. How do you make a tree? Well, you just keep going squiggly out, squiggly out, squiggly out. You just make it into a mess, and it looks like a tree after a while. Yeah. And that's what they are, so it is hard. And especially when the leaves are all in. There's a huge difference between what you can see when the leaves, I know this seems like obvious and simple to people. Yeah. Well, if it is, then why don't these people all go out during the winter? You can see more. Well, when the Bigfoot migrates. Well, that's convenient. Sure. So, okay, so you have to follow over here. But I do believe that any animal, not just a Bigfoot, any animal is going to sit still, and you're going to be hard to see. They're going to be hard to see. They are, my God, they're a part of their environment. Yep. It's hard to see this stuff, I mean, you can't, that's the thing. You think you can go out there and be like, there's no Bigfoot because I can't see one. Yeah. You know what? There's worms, there's possums, there's mosquitoes, there's hawks, there's eagles, there's bobcats, there's bear, there's mink. There's a lot of things you will never, ever see because we've said this before on the show. If you had let's say a night vision camera and you had it above you in a drone filming you while you're walking through the woods, and if you had about a half-mile radius, like a circle, and you're in the center of it, and the drone is watching you, you would see heat signatures running away from that half-mile radius because it hears you coming. The animals hear you coming. They get out of the way. They don't want to deal with you. They hear 2 feet coming. They don't know what that is. They run. You never see them. You never hear them. They could be right above you in a tree. You would never know it. Ever. Yep.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. It's like, and one point that he was making in this, which is it's not so much him making the point, I guess, but like we've been talking about this. We are so removed from nature. Now, Timo, you've gone back closer too, and look at all the things that you've seen. I agree with what you said. Yeah. Yeah. And we're so far removed from that we don't even think that this could be possible. Exactly. And it's like for our species, whatever, us humans, we've gone all towards technology. Right. Everything from the time, way back, everything, So we are in tune with technology and all that. But like he's saying, he thinks that with animals and such with the Bigfoot, they're so much more in tune with nature and the wind and the way things and noises and stuff like that they, like you're saying, they know, they hear, they understand. Something's different right now. The smell, something's different right now in the woods. Right. So everything's on alert. And do you think, and we've talked about this millions of times on the show, you think that if there is a Bigfoot and it lives in the woods, knows when you come around, knows. I mean, no, it's like everything they, it's a way different if you're living in the woods compared to living.
Right. I think that people have a hard time with nature. And what I mean by that is human nature is to manipulate our environment and our surroundings to serve our needs. And most animals will use what's there and go with nature, and we will go against. And that is there's
kind of what he was saying,
right? And so I do agree with you at that. Now but the problem also that Todd has is that when you talk to someone like me, you're also going to get a lot of this evidence, and we're going to look at you going, "I got that in my yard, man." That's not, and even if it is a Bigfoot that pushed that tree down, you're never going to get someone like me going, yeah, that's a Bigfoot. Because I'm telling you, man, next time you're here, we're going to take a walk around the woods again. And this time, I think it was too muddy last time or something, but we're going to take a walk, and I'm going to show you, now that I've been here, especially year 2, going through it, I'm going to show you all the trees, all the broken things, all of the odd stuff on 8 acres. Yeah. Not on thousands and thousands of acres, not on square miles. No, just on these. I'm going to show you stuff. You're going to, and it will surprise you.
Sure. People around here, they don't ever want to go any further out. And I'm not kidding you, Tim. If I go I could go be in a cornfield in no time around here. Like in no time. It's, right. But people never venture past. And it's like growing up in the woods as a kid, we had a patch of woods that we hung out with, and I wasn't humongous, but it was big. It was a lot of acres, and we hung out there, and I loved it, and I wish I could get back to that. Right. But the difference when you're out there, man. Like it's just, I mean, I would go out there with my BB gun or my slingshot, and you might catch 1 or 2 birds or a squirrel when you first got in there. But man, then they knew, and then you wouldn't see them you wouldn't hear them or see them. No,
I've never seen anything. When I've been going through the woods, like doing anything, I've never seen anything except for maybe a squirrel in the distance. Distance.
Exactly.
My dog's with me most of the time. She's hopping around. There's no way an animal's ever. Now, I see most of the animals I see from inside my house. So I look out the window and I see them, or maybe in my balcony. I have seen a couple of deer just sitting outside. Like I've sat outside very still, and all of a sudden one's come up and things like that. So a couple things, yes, but for the most part, you make a sound, they know you're there, and like you said, they smell you too. Yeah, they hear you and they smell you, and right, and so there's a lot of different things that I think the researchers. I think what they need to do is stop trying to convince the intellectuals, and they need to start if they can convince people like me who I don't even seem to want to believe in it. I'm kind of like a 60-40 person like you. Yeah. But the one thing that really irritates me to no end is when people make the argument, well, it's been a while. We've been looking. How come no one's seen him? Well, I hate that argument because it's like, what do you mean nobody's seen him?
I've seen him. Yeah.
I've met so many people that have seen one. Now. Yeah. And what you're saying is, you're calling everyone a liar. Yep. You don't want to say liar.
We're too smart for that.
Yeah, you're too smart sitting in your apartment in the middle of an urban area. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe they don't believe.
No, I get out to Central Park on Sundays to walk around.
Well, why should they believe that? So why should a rural person believe that you have your urban difficulties? Why should they even believe it? They don't have to live with it. They don't see it. Yeah. So why are you telling somebody in a rural area what they're seeing and what they're not seeing? Yeah. Maybe it's the same thing. Crackheads. Well, I'm saying it's the same thing. No, I know, but you're right. Yeah. But you're absolutely right when you talk about, well, people don't believe it. It's like I said, city folks are rural versus urban. It's just like, well, it cuts both ways. It cuts both ways. There. Yeah. You're telling people
and he made a good point, like he did too. But I've always thought, okay, Timo, how many years have the mountain gorillas?
The silverbacks.
They thought they were a myth, and now, and it's only been how many? It hasn't even been that long that they've been discovered. You know what I mean?
20, 100 years, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or
as long as mad scientists were around.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But so I mean, and in the girl that we like, what's her name? She found that. What the chimpanzees a 6 foot tall. And that can't be real. It is real. And Todd Standing said, which you're never going to convince anybody, but all these people pay all this money to go out of the country or whatever to look. No, man, there's stuff here. Go look for it and just go find Bigfoot. Come on, man. Like, I'm sure there's somebody out there that would put up some money, and have been some people that have put up some money. And Todd Standings, I don't know how he's getting his money, but he's got some research material and fucking 6-wheeled buggies to drive around. So, someone's giving that guy some money. I don't think Todd Standing. I don't know, because after watching this show, and this will be the last thing I say, bud, I think there are more out there than we think. And there might even have been closer to us. They might even be closer to us than we think. I think they're much smarter, and that's their yard. That's their backyard. They can blend in. They're ninjas, Timo.
Well, and I know you're saying this too, so you don't even have to qualify this at all. I don't need that show to think that, and I know you don't.
Exactly.
Either. I know you don't.
Me either.
So I'm not saying that you do, but I know what you mean. And this is kind of like more evidence to that. I think it kind of bothers me is that there's so many reasons that there's so many easy ways to make somebody look crazy like us. And like when you say, well, you do know that there really is a lot of money behind the fact that they don't want this to exist. They don't want this to exist because you're going to come into a lot of environmental problems, laws and things that are already kind of tricky and dicey. And I'm not saying that we don't need to protect our environment and stuff, but go back to the spotted owl. And if people think this, you don't know what I mean, if you just know what the spotted owl sounds like, oh yeah, that was an endangered species. Yeah. Go back and look it up. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons why people don't want this to exist. A lot of people's egos can't handle it. And I don't know why that is. So many people. Why?
I
don't understand.
You think it would be like, wouldn't you want to be the guy that discovered him? Like,
yeah, but Harley people all have egos, and when something goes against their belief system that's right there in front of their face, they tend not to believe it. I mean, it's look at politics, look at everything else. You can show somebody, hey, this person's innocent of this. Well, I didn't think so for 2 years, so therefore they're not. Well, okay, but that's just patently false. I mean, that's just wrong. And so it's very difficult. People really have, their perception of reality is reality.
And the older I get too, buddy, and I hate it because I want to believe in science and in scientists and things like that. But the older I get, sometimes the less I tend to jump right on what they're saying. Because,
right.
Timo, we just found out what a black hole looks like, right?
Yeah. Right.
How many years they've been telling us what a black hole looks like?
Right.
How the hell do you know what a black hole looks like? First off, and we finally now just found a picture of one of them.
Right, and they're pretty readily available across the universe. Yeah. Well, and that's
I don't know, but I just
you're right, and I think it's just the way. It's just the way it is. I mean, people just
tired of people telling me how things are when they're the most educated and that they're the smartest, and you're not. Well, but it's common. Some of it comes down to common sense, doesn't it, buddy? I mean,
it does. But you have to understand too. If you watch I've been watching a lot of medical documentaries too.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been talking about them, but we've educated ourselves. Not just documentaries. Look, I'm not using Amazon Prime for an encyclopedia. Trust me, okay? But what I'm saying though is that if you watch a lot of these documentaries with a lot of these issues with the health industry, and we can all agree there's some issues with the pharmaceuticals and stuff. I mean, there's varying degrees of what you think and this and that. If you're not talking about something like Bigfoot, if you're not talking about something like global warming, if you're not talking about some of these hot button issues, you will get any scientist tell you there is no more of a conservative, closed-minded group of people than scientists. Yeah. Because they believe what they believe. Man. They believe what they believe. They do not want to be challenged. And doctors like this too. They don't want to be challenged. Yeah. And when you challenge their belief system, something they have thought, they are scientists. They are people telling us what's going on. Yeah. When they find out that what they've been telling us is wrong, that is kind of like a cigarette company trying to tell you that nicotine isn't addictive.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're defending it's caveman shit, man. You're defending your home. You're defending your point of view. Yeah. And unfortunately, in today's age, we get caught up in it. Yeah. But I'm telling you, it's really what you piece together when you're listening to scientists and researchers and stuff that have nothing to do with Bigfoot, that have nothing to do with UFOs, have nothing to do with this and that, you tend to find out, wait a minute, they're humans like we are.
Yeah.
Some are more imaginative than others. And really things are the way they are, whether or not we give them words or names, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what a scientist says about Bigfoot, about global warming, about the earth being flat, about whatever the fuck you want to go off on a tangent about. It really doesn't matter. What matters is it is what is.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're just trying to find the words to explain those things.
Well, it fits somebody's narrative, and then that's what it is.
I know.
You know, and it sucks because
it does.
You can't have an honest conversation about something, or you can't and trust me, Timo, especially over the last couple of years, people know me as a guy who likes Bigfoot, and people send me things, and they don't tease me. A lot of people think it's great. They love it, you know. But
me too, a little bit.
I also got people that and I try to. I'm like, oh, geez, this person's looking at me, and there's nothing I can say to this person right now.
The look,
going to make them not think I'm a goof.
Yeah, it's a look.
But I stand behind it, and I have to. You can think I'm an idiot all day long, but there's just too many. There's just too much, you know. And I like the fantasy part about Bigfoot. I do, you know. But
look, I want to know there's mystery still.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So listen to me. We got an official film.
All right, buddy.
All right. So getting out of Soapbox Central. From you want to get out of a Soapbox Central, go to 1955. 1955, Cult of the Cobra.
Of the Cobra.
Yes, our official films. There we go. No Bigfoot, no Sasquatch in this, but there's a little bit.
But a lady dressed like a snake.
Yeah, that was interesting too. By the way,
Interesting.
Let me get you a short storyline here for Cult of the Cobra. Here we go.
Okay.
American GIs who trespass on a Hindu ceremony are hunted down by a beautiful woman who has the power to transform herself into a cobra.
Yeah, she does.
There you go. Starring, here's another pronunciation I can't do. Faith Domergue or Demergue. I think it's Domergue, but I don't know. So she's a snake lady, yeah. Let's see here. Also starring Marshall Thompson from It, the Terror from Beyond Space. And the movie you keep wanting to review, which I keep telling you we reviewed, it's Bog. With a hypodemic nerdle in it. Yeah, with that guy. I keep saying, you don't want to do it, Harley. You don't want to do it. That's Bog now. And also, one of our favorite actors of all time, Mr. Ben Harley, Mr. Richard Long.
Richard Long. Now, I think Richard Long might be. Is Richard Long? Did he play in Big Valley?
He sure did.
He's one of the Barclays.
He's also in House on Haunted Hill, the Vincent Price one.
Yep. Yeah, he's one of my favorite Barclays. He's not my favorite Barclay. My favorite is what's her name? Play Linda Evans.
Oh yeah, I like her too. Yeah,
She was not sure how old she was.
I don't think that was even Richard Long's name. I think he met Linda Evans on set. She said, "What's your name?" Richard Long.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a cutie in Big Valley. Sorry. Okay.
That's right. All right. Now we also got
Barclays.
We also got. Well, you know what though? Richard Long's name is even better as his character is Paul Abel.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking the names in this case. So, speaking of funny names, so we also have David Jansen in this movie, The Fugitive.
Yeah.
He was Kimball. Yeah, in The Fugitive.
Yeah.
So, his name in the film is Rico Nardi.
Rico Nardi.
Okay. And directed here by Francis D. Lyon from Destination Inner Space and Castle of Evil. Directed those things.
Okay.
So basically what we have here is some GI. Now, this is set in 1945. If I'm not mistaken, in Asia.
Yeah.
That's where it starts, at least. So some servicemen, they come across a snake charmer, and they start talking about a whole cult of people that worship snakes and stuff. And he's like, I know.
He wants to make some extra money.
He wants to make some scratch. So he says, you pay me some money, I'll take you to go see one of these ceremonies. Yeah. Do that. So, of course, this all happens, and so the GIs are really disguised awfully in robes. I guess everyone else is dressed up in a robe too.
Awful.
And one of the knuckleheads, not like the awful, stupid moment in King Kong when they're watching the ceremony. One of the knuckleheads takes a picture with the world's most giant camera.
Yeah.
With a floodlight for a flash, not exactly trying to hide the fact he's taking a picture.
No, he was not.
Even though he was acutely told not to get caught doing this or whatever. So anyway. So they get caught and then they're cursed.
Yes.
And they go back home to the States and the curse in the form of Faith Domergue or Demergue or whatever her name is, follows to the States.
Yes.
And then she basically, one by one, turns into a snake a la transformation, like a werewolf or something like that.
Yeah.
And picks off the servicemen one by one while they're trying to believe that this could happen because science says this can happen, but it's happening to them. So.
But it is happening.
So, Mr. Ben Harley, what did you think of Cult of the Cobra?
First time I've seen this, Timo.
Right.
Now, is this kind of like a monkey paw type story? Is that?
I kind of look at this more like a Cat People type of movie.
Cat People?
A little bit more like Cat People, where you get somebody who's conflicted, yet they're turning into a creature and killing people that are wronging them or doing something wrong. I don't really think of Monkey's Paw quite as much.
But like the curse type thing, right? Where because they get the curse and they get picked off one by one. Isn't that the monkey?
No, Monkey's Paw is where the kid gets like killed and they have a monkey's paw and they make 2 wishes. And the 2 wishes came true, but something bad happened when the wishes came true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Cat People is more like this, where someone from a foreign land who's cursed with a animal type curse comes over. It's a little different in that this is a direct revenge for spoiling the Hindu ceremony. Yeah. A little bit with that. Yeah. So she comes over.
Because each one by one gets picked off, which I kind of like these.
Yeah, I did too.
Movies where
more of a slasher type thing.
Yeah, a little bit, and then you're like, well, and each guy's like, well, maybe that's because, no, it's not because of the curse that was put on us because,
Right.
It's always not. No, it can't be. But this one's pretty good. Like, it is kind of weird when, and I was saying the same things like you just were while I was watching it in my head, Tim. I wasn't saying it out loud.
Right.
In my head, I was thinking, these guys look a little, they're not, how are they going to pass for looking like they're from the temple? And I think my cue to leave would have been when he said, "Oh, if they catch you, you're dead." I don't want to see a snake. I don't want to see a snake charmer. No way, no how. That bad. I got my own snake to charm. I don't need to. You know what I'm saying? I don't
know what you're saying.
I don't know. If it involves death, I don't want to see it. So
that's not the kind of snake charmer you're looking for.
Yeah. So
I got you.
No, I gotta go. So, I thought at first I was like, that's a little, it was kind of comical that I was like,
well, they just kind of brought it up. Richard Long was like, I heard about a cult. Oh, did you, Richard Long? Okay, yeah.
So, at first I was like, that's a little weird, but once they got back to the States and stuff, and things really started to kind of simmer or cook, and that the chicks really kind of like, I liked her character, you know, too. She's smarmy and spooky enough, you know. So, but I liked it much better when they got back to the States and things started to amp up a little bit more.
I like it too. It's a little more like with Cat People. It's a bit more subtle. I mean, Val Lewton is known for what's in the shadows is scarier than what he's showing you. Yeah, this is a little bit more straightforward. I think it is kind of Val Lewton influence a little bit, but it's more straightforward in that it's pretty clear that she's transforming. Into a snake, and the snake isn't the greatest. It's they do have the neat little point of view thing from the snake that was kind of cool, and it kind of reminded me of It Came from Outer Space or something, where like the point of view of the alien. That was pretty good. I like that because that can wrap up some tension a little bit.
Oh yeah,
you're doing instead of just showing a silly rubber snake, going through or whatever. But I do like that. It's kind of straightforward in a way. The way I like Cat People not being straightforward, I kind of appreciated this movie being straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it wasn't dark enough not to be. It was a little bit more of it's 1955.
Sure.
It's a little more. What is interesting, though, it's not really a sci-fi movie. Most movies from this period all have some kind of sci-fi or have a mad scientist with a serum or something going on. This is more cult horror. I mean, this is more like, kind of straightforward in that way.
I think so, too. It was, And it did have kind of a slasher element maybe to it too,
Right.
you know. I will say, Timo, it was a very interesting snake dance at the beginning.
I like the outfit.
It was quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it before or since. So I did enjoy that.
I do know. I looked over at Angie and went, "Why don't you do that to me?"
Yeah.
Just climb up. So she has like a skin tight bodysuit on that has like a snake type look to it. And I mean, she just climbs all over this guy, like over his shoulder. She's on her shoulders. She's trying to be a snake.
Yeah. It started like a little dinner and a show type thing at the beginning, like a little dance fight with a couple swords and then a snake. Yeah. She comes out of somewhere and attacks the guy with the centaur. And there's a little bit of Broadway show there. There's a little bit of, you get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Before before the snake comes out, but whatever. I mean, I don't know that when I watch these older movies like that, those parts always, like the dance numbers or the song stuff, always kind of make me laugh a little bit because there's always a guy he's supposed to look like he's a big brute or he's like, and it always comes off to me like, "Hi there," you come. It's just the times that we live in now, Tim. Yeah, and I apologize, but
well, she's pretty conniving, though. I mean, she's conniving, and you know what? She's not all in either. She's conflicted with what she's doing, and she can't help herself. That's another cat people thing that I think that woman, she couldn't help herself either. And this is the same thing. She can't help herself. This is what she's like, forced to do, basically. Again, this isn't a long movie either, but 5-10 minutes maybe shaved off it again. I think we go through this with a lot with these older films, though, because the pacing was a little different just in general.
Sure.
For stuff, but not quite as bad as some other things. So we'll put it that way. I did appreciate the fact that it was a little more straightforward. And, this is one of those movies I kind of I gravitated away from. Yeah. I'm not a big cult type. I mean, they're okay, but it's usually devil worship and stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of elements from Spasms in this a little bit too. Actually. This actually probably is a little more snake. It's a little more snake. It's a little snake driven. Yeah. But yeah, so I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. At least just a solid, mild to solid Great Ape up for me.
Okay.
At least I think the actors, it was cast well. Up and comers. I mean, these guys this was a kind of an ensemble cast of pretty decent, well-known actors, actually.
Yeah.
And
Richard Long.
I love Richard Long. He just looks like that smarm look in his face like, my name's Dick Long. I mean, what are you going to do?
What can you do?
I haven't been lonely since 1947. What are you going to do? I don't know. So, but I'm definitely going to give it a Great Ape up. I think it's a good, solid movie. The story, you've seen it before, but at this time it was a little more fresh, I guess. Sure. I just like the fact they didn't shy away from it. I'm just not a big fan of Old Faith. She's not really my thing, my bag, I guess. Not a bad actress, but kind of when the guys go Google over the girlfriends they have in the film. It's no offense. I'm not being a pig. I'm just saying, as a heterosexual male, if you're going to draw me away from my lady, you have to give me something more than that. Give me something more than that. That's all I'm saying. But the movie played well, and that's what it was supposed to be. So Great Ape up for me. What are you going to do? What do you think? Yeah, I'm going to give it just a mild Great Ape up. Okay. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I did. I enjoyed it. All right. Well, nothing to write home really about for me, but I did enjoy it. I really did. Right. And I think a lot of it is what it is. And it's different. It doesn't have your classic Frankenstein monster or mummy or werewolf in it. So we have something a little different, which is interesting. And it's not a big bug movie. So usually if it wasn't a classic monster, you had a sci-fi movie. Right. And this is not that. So, but okay, well, two just Great Apes up, mild or not, for Cult of the Cobra. So I'm not sure what we're doing next week, Mr. Bun Harley, but hopefully we'll be giving you some good news back from Angio's surgery. We will. And we'll talk a little bit more about Retro Invasion Weekend coming up and all that good stuff. So until next week, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people. You're, I don't know. Is that a rattler?
You Frankenstein the Cobra with a rattler on its back.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.